Back to WKYT News. The CDC started the Heads Up campaign to help doctors, school professionals, and athletic trainers diagnose and manage concussions.
Just last week, a West Virginia football player died after suffering a head injury during practice. New at 6, we're talking to experts about safety out on the field. For every play and every hit, each blow to the brain can be dangerous.
If a player isn't properly taught at an early age, don't lead with your head. See what you tackle, right? Those are simple phrases that go a really long way.
Dr. Gribble is an athletic trainer and professor at UK. He says over the last few decades, major advances in technology have been making a difference out on the field.
There's a very significant consequence of what's called second impact syndrome. Returning an athlete when they're still in an inflammatory recovery stage on the brain, and they could sustain a second impact, is associated with really high rates of very serious consequences and a high rate of fatalities.
8th grader Cohen Craddock lost consciousness on the football field after being tackled during practice. His father tells our CBS affiliate in Charleston, West Virginia, he suffered severe brain swelling and died the following day from head trauma.
Very hard to wrap your head around. You can't imagine, that with head protection, you can't imagine that type of injury occurring. I understand concussions, I understand headaches, but to the point that your brain swells and it takes you off the earth, that's hard to fathom.
All the preparation can be in place. Everything could be perfectly prepared to avoid injury, but injuries are still going to happen. The nasty injuries, the unfortunate consequences of a contact sport.
Dr. Gribble says preseason cognitive screenings can help garner a baseline that'll also help medical professionals track athletes throughout the season.
Things like memory tests, recall tests, short-term memory tests, as well as coupling that with balance tests, maybe some other functional movements.